So I'm Rob Henry, I'm the Quality Assurance and Technical Manager for CaterCloud, and this fine gentleman,
Julian Edwards from Allergen Accreditation.
So this label now, we're going to split into 3 sections. We'll have a little intro and Q&A, and then we shall switch over to the main body of the event, and then we'll come back for a nice Q&A session.
Yeah.
And
excellent.
Hopefully we'll get everybody's questions answered.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got well, let's get ready to roll. But during the session this morning, we've got 3 polls that'll be running. So please take part in this. 2 of these will be anonymous, but we really appreciate your opinions. We've got a Q&A box, so if you can post any questions there, and we will look at these during the video. So we'll have hopefully responses ready by the time we get to the Q&A section. Any more housekeeping you'd like to?
Yeah. So obviously, for those of you who are concerned that Julian and I are a little bit close together, we've been working together for the last few months, and we have been taking lateral flow tests, and all is good, all is clear. So that's that one put to bed. And like I say, questions, make sure you please put them in the Q&A section, because if you put them in the chat, we're unable to respond, adequately. And we'd really like to track the questions so that we can share them with you after the event on our website.
Yeah, brilliant, excellent.
So last bit of housekeeping, if you don't mind, before we switch to
yes, of course,
the main body.
Health and safety first.
Yes, we don't have a fire alarm planned for this morning, so if you do hear the smoke alarm, you've obviously burnt your toast. So grab a bowl of cereal, come back to us, sit down and enjoy the day, and we'll get cracking on.
Brilliant. Okay, without further ado, by the magic of Hollywood, we're now going live. Rob and I are in the kitchen.
Full ingredients listing. So it could be, it's 3 years plus since the government orchestrated a massive consultation on basically sort of presenting the concept that we need to know label products to make it easier for consumers to identify once they've grabbed, bought and gone away with the product. They need to then have some sort of record or ability to check what they've bought. So this consultation, what was fascinating about it is that hundreds of people were presenting themselves and saying, actually the top 14, okay, we need to know where allergens are, but a lot of us are allergic to a lot more ingredients.
I think that's very important to point out as well, because everyone's hanging the hat on Natasha's law and the changes that haven't to be made, but it's important to express the fact that it isn't just about allergens. Hence why we've got the full ingredients list now required. There are a lot of people out there that are sensitive, intolerant, highly allergic to products that don't feature in this 14.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and that is the crux of it, the rationale behind PBDS. It's a full ingredients list. So exactly what you're saying. So people can pick up a product. They've got a reference point then to make sure they can double check that any of those ingredients aren't going to be harmful to them.
I think what's quite important as well is it takes away some of the perceived stigma that some hypersensitive people believe is around them.
Yes.
And having to ask, has it got onions in it? Has it got this in it? Has it got that in it? Just being able to go somewhere and pick something up and confidently know what's in it is actually labelled on the front.
Exactly. And you say that, you think of the younger generation, if it's millennials or whichever generation, but and the fast-paced nature of humans, they want to run in, grab something. The oral communication isn't a big thing for them. They want to grab something, pay for it, and they will want to check in their own time. So this is a huge service to a lot of people who are concerned about certain ingredients.
And I think, again, you know, as a caterer, and you know yourself as a caterer, I think for those that are hypersensitive out there, don't be embarrassed. You know, it's part of your life. We're here to serve you. So that's why we're doing it this way. You know, no one's gone out there and said, this is the product, this is the scenario, this is your environment, and this is what it does. This is what it has to look like.
Yeah, exactly. And you and I are both fielding calls, emails, texts, screams, shouts from all types of caterers and all types of settings. And they're all asking a variety of questions. Saying, well, do we need to label this? Because actually, why does this need labeling? Because it's just a bit of mise en place preparation. It's just in a package because it's being decanted later on. We've had, I mean, literally queries from all kinds of, and then whilst that's happening, caterers, and we're talking, you know, the professional food service operators are coming to us, which they're meant to do. We are here, we are open to talk, we do
always
help. We're an abundance of free resources constantly for the food service sector, and please always get in touch with us. But literally, caterers are then saying, well, in the absence of a fixed absolute, you must do this, we're going to do it this way. And a classic one we picked up just recently was, if there's a lid on it, it's a label. If there's no lid, there's no label. And they're missing the point. And the risk is...
They're missing the point, because the actual guidance is, you know, partially wrapped. If it can or cannot be altered after, you know, before purchase, etc.
Without changing the packaging
but
and this and stuff. But
if you don't serve anything to alter that product with, you know, whether it be the pot of yogurt or the pot of fruit or the muffin in a napkin.
Yes. Yeah.
If you don't serve a sauce to go over that, then you're not altering it. So,
so what?
Where you know, where is the boundaries?
It is, and that's a good point. I mean, altering a product, it's ambiguous. So this is why we're here. This is why we're here today, to really put paid to the. There's loads of sort of folklore coming out now, and the risk is that caterers on occasion would say, well, how can we work around this? And as soon as a caterer says, oh, let's loophole, work around, then we're missing the point.
Yes.
The point is, what you said earlier, those lovely words, it's about protecting all consumers. So they want to pick up a product, have that opportunity to see what's written on this. It's not about loopholes. It's not about...
Everybody should have the same choice.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
You shouldn't have to restrict your choices because you have an intolerance or a hypersensitivity to any particular ingredient.
Yeah, exactly. And things change. It's such a... it's a volatile sector, volatile aspect of food service, and where we have, I think it's 2 million registered people in the UK with a known allergy. There's millions with a food intolerance. The hyper and
there's hundreds of thousands, Julian, that don't know and don't recognise that they have that intolerance.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because they've never been tested.
Precisely, and so it's. I always think of you know, it's not red tape. You know, we've moved from Brussels. We're UK now. Why do we? It's not that. It's it's regulation, which is the right thing to do. Britain and Ireland are the best food safe islands on the planet. So it's right we get the allergen story right. But it always makes me think that it's a market. You do this right.
Yeah, do it right.
Millions of customers.
You're going to increase your market span.
Yes. So all this
invite
effort,
everybody in.
Yeah. All this effort gets ka-ching in the till.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. So.
Well, I think it's probably time to look at some products.
It is. It is. I think it's. We need to do this. This is the promise. We're going to look at some products. We'll look at some labeling scenarios. What does need labeling? What doesn't need labeling? And ask some questions and really get into the nitty-gritty of the whole thing.
So let's get some graft on.
That's good. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Excellent.
Right, Julian, that was a bit of a mad 25 minutes getting some of this stuff together.
Yeah, well done. We've got a whole smorgasbord here of some brilliant, finely smelling super products going on.
Well, you know, these are products that we all see in a day-to-day life that some are going to raise more questions than others.
Yeah, sure.
And, you know, let's hope, give everybody the answers that they're looking for.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, let's, I think we should start with a really simple one. So let's look at the humble hot dog. So this is a great, actually, the hot dog is referenced in the FSA technical guide.
Yes,
it says if you've got, so this is an open packaging, so it's partially packaged, it's placed on a tray, it's presented to the customer, which is fairly typical of a hot dog bar. and then the customer will add onions or sauces accordingly. At that environment, that catering environment, the operator will have a clear sign saying allergens, intolerances. Ask a member of staff. You can then ask a member of staff if this contains a particular allergen, and the obligation is there by the caterer. So that is standard allergen rules and regs.
It is, and
so labelling. What happens?
I think it's good to point out that. Give your staff some confidence. Give them some backup. Give them some training. You know, they're the front of your company, and if they don't know what they're talking about when someone asks a question, then it's perceived the company doesn't know what it's doing, and that's bad for everyone. So empower your people, give them some training, you know, and let people make decisions based on what they're being told.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's fantastic, because whilst we're focusing on labelling, we should always remember that allergen management, making Britain the best in the business of allergen controls, does start with people, does start with training, and the empowerment word is great, because do you remember back in probably early college days when, your first induction at work, picture that, and then the health and safety guys saying, right, health and safety, it's everybody's responsibility.
It is.
And actually the same applies here. So if you as a member of staff, we're all good at saying, that's health and safety, that we've all been brought up like that. So if we're confident enough to refer to anything deadly serious about a fire extinguisher propping a door open, we should be just as confident to say, I'm not too sure about the allergen contact. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask a colleague. Have that confidence. Have that empowerment. And it's incumbent on employers to make sure that staff are on the ball. But it's the wider allergen culture is still absolutely.
Well, we talk about food safety culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's bringing that allergen culture in as well.
And all this dialogue now for one product, and this is our easiest one, which technically doesn't need a label. However, what if you've got you're in an environment where you've got chill counters, hot counters. Think of a sort of service station. It is grab and go.
It is.
Some products like that, and think of like a wrap panini or a burger or something similar, a hot dog. These can sometimes be in a sort of ambient state or in a chilled state. You buy them, take them to the till, and the operator says, should we zap that for you in the combi microwave? So now that's in a sealed, there could be a time there where that is a pre-packed for direct sale product, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a traditional hot dog serve will be as Exhibit A with no label. Equally, if that product is for grab and go, because it is already hot, and that takes us back to the culture of grab and go, take from a display stand, go to till, no communication, pay and go, where there's no engagement. So that sealed, that whole composition of a hot product that's ready to grab and go is PPDS. Whereas we would normally appreciate a hot dog in a roll, that's kind of served to order. That's just a convenient tray that normally comes with hot dogs.
Yeah, again, it's that partially enclosed, isn't it? You know, that raises the question.
Yeah, exactly. And in the true sense of the words there, this is a product that, without altering a touch in the packaging, you can change, you can alter the product. So therefore, that doesn't fall within PPDS. So hang on, that was the easiest one. Ooh. I know, that's the hot dog one.
Well, shall we go for something
400
that's a little
more
tricky,
to look at.
a little trickier?
Okay.
Because it can be served in two ways.
Right, okay.
Let's take the humble fruit pot.
All right, now then, okay.
Lidded or unlidded?
Yes, and this is just a hot topic. So, I mean, where do we, if I can just pick that up, Rob. I mean, if I think of some primary schools or schools I go into, you'll have a plastic one of these, or a melamine, or, tend not to be china or glassware in a primary school, but so you've got a reusable pot or a disposable pot. So 50 customers will normally opt for the fruit pot or yogurty option.
Yes.
So the caterer who's preparing 400 meals every morning, he'll have those prepped. So they'll all be on the, if you like, the cold counter.
They'll all be on the tray, ready to go in the cold counter.
Yes. So, and then when the customers come through, they're literally coming through, they're being served their main course, and then they can just take their fruit pot. So really it's the first impression that it's mise en place, and it's just getting ready for that rush. It's part of the lunch service. So logic tells me that's just been prepared and served ready into a portion. Am I right? Or what, do we need to be labeled? It's pre-packed for direct sale. It's been prepared on the assumption, nobody's ordered it yet.
Yeah, I mean, there is the argument that if I haven't put a lid on it, it can be altered.
Okay, yes, yeah.
But am I serving anything that can alter it?
Yeah.
Am I serving any cream? Am I serving, you know, any sauces, etc.?
Does something else come with it? So it can be altered, similar with ketchup on a hot dog. So we're bringing in a bit of a principle there. So there's a few things there, isn't there? There's the idea that it is prepared for direct sale. It hasn't been ordered yet. It won't be until the customers come in. The caterer is doing it because it's portion control, it's hygiene, it's the way to have these prepared. So you'd think that's just a preparation argument, but looking at the law, the technicality, is that an actual PPDS qualified item? And as you say there about having a lid in it or not, what sort of difference does that make? I'm not 100% sure. So
I'll tell you what, we're going to have a Q&A afterwards.
Okay.
So we'll address it in the Q&A.
All right.
And if we don't address it fully, then we'll take it away and we'll get the correct answer. We'll publish it on the website and with the resource pack afterwards.
Okay.
And we'll get a definitive.
Yeah.
We'll go straight to the horse's mouth.
Yeah. Okay.
You and I both got good connections.
Absolutely.
The FSA.
Absolutely. We've got to get this spot on because it's expense and time. Are we going to a massive? I mean, we've cured the hot dog question now, thankfully. Not that anybody asked about hot dogs, but you never know. But these are critical. So yeah, spot on. During the Q&A section of this Labelnar, we will give you the guide and the answer to those pertinent questions. And I think that the thinking is that it's the scenario, isn't it?
Yes.
When is a chef doing a mise en place and preparing for a flow of customers coming through, and that this affects everything, isn't it? And is that pre-ordered? Anyway, we'll come back to that one. So there's pots and there's, I mean, we can bounce quickly on to, if we're looking at full-scale chiller units in all types of places. So a high street sandwich bar, anywhere with
furniture stores, for crying out loud.
Furniture stores. I mean, wherever there's that grab and go section. So a retail part of catering, a student union, student restaurant, high school. These are very, very popular. Great portion control, great hygiene. Now, if these are in the chiller unit, all part of the grab and go culture, that is definitely pre-packed for direct sales, isn't it? Because it literally, the engagement there with the customers to grab, to till, very little oral communication, pay and go. List of ingredients are on there for reference, so that customer they can then interrogate that correctly. So, yeah, okay, that'll be a good one to sort of really iron out on the Q&A section.
Right.
What else have we got here?
Well, we've got a range of products that here, these three products. Your sausage balm.
Right.
And I'm using balm because we're up north.
Right.
All right. You've got your
sausage in a bab.
You've got your jacket with coleslaw and you've got your burger.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. So, I mean, so if you're using this as this is your serving plate, I'm at think of a restaurant chain that has a bit of a barbecue side to it. So you're engaging with a server, you're ordering your double sausage in a balm, whatever that is. This is the packaging we use. You've got that engagement. So that's a loose food scenario. We're not expecting that to have any kind of label on it because that's just the container used in that particular setting.
But if I close that,
right,
and I've got it in my hot cupboard in my education establishment,
right, okay,
for
so
my
what,
kids
hot,
to come in,
hot display,
hot display.
So think of grab and go again. So it's ready to eat. So it's PPDS, ready to eat product. It's hot, nothing wrong with that. Hot display thing.
That's it.
The operation there is to grab, go to till,
and off
pay, and off you go again. Limited engagement. Right. So we're now talking PPDS.
Yeah. And again, that happens
and that's
with a multitude of these products.
It does, yeah.
That can be in the same environment but served two different ways.
Yeah.
You know, you can go and order it and they'll say, that'll be 2 minutes because I've got to cook it.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And
or they turn around and go, there you go, sir.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's not that clear cut. So there will be occasions when you'll see some products with a label and some without, which could be a bit confusing. But sticking to the principle and what this is all about, it's grab and go. This is pre-done. It's hot. It's in a normal packaging with a label. That makes perfect sense. If it's served and you're asking the server, can I have 2 sausages on there? That's delicatessen communication. where it does not need labeling. That's purely there for, that's how it's served.
Yeah.
And the same goes with, you can have a similar principle with jacket potatoes, which are hot, they have a filling, or
so if this jacket potato was in a hot cupboard,
yeah,
with the lid on, but the condiment, the addition,
yeah,
was in a chiller bar at the front.
Coleslaw, for example.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they come in, they grab and go with the jacket.
Yeah.
But they're then opening it and putting their topping on.
So now you're altering the packaging there. So if they were displayed like this in a row, where the packaging is open, a bit like the hot dog, so you literally are picking this up, and then you're going to, it could be a separate little cold pot of coleslaw or something. Yeah. So you're actually altering that without interfering with the packaging. That's not PPDS. Right. So that information would need to be available through clear sign at the counters. Yeah, ask for allergen and intolerant information, speak to a member of staff, and that information is available on the allergen matrix. So, okay, so there is a correlation there between how we serve in our food service operation and what is PPDS.
And I think that's what a lot of people are struggling with, especially some of the calls that I've taken where people are saying, well, it might be ready or it might not be ready. So do I have to have two different operations on the go? And you can quite easily look at some big high street burger chains, for instance.
Yes, yeah.
Where you go in and you place your order and it's turn around, pick it up, put it in a bag and go. Yeah. Or they say, sorry, I've got to cook it. It'll be 3 or 4 minutes. Chicken shops, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean that's so in reverse order. Then that's a call order delicatessen communication. You go in there, can have a burger with cheese. It's done in front of you, a couple of minutes. It's served in this type of packaging. That's loose food, contained for takeaway. That follows then the traditional allergen requirements, which is to ask about allergens, have that engagement. Whereas, so
if you've gone in and placed the same order and they've turned around and picked it out of a hot cabinet,
and that's
because they were expecting the rush.
Yeah, and I must admit, I do feel for that. The classic fast food chains where they know they can predict the breakfast rush, they predict the, and so you've got on your hot shoots behind you, you've got pre-prepared 20 of these, 24 of those, all your definite sellers. So that's the caterer being forward-thinking. He or she knows what's going to go in that rush. So mise en place is preparation. This wrapping a lot of it tends to be this wax paper as well, which is it's not an easy material to label as it goes. So
heck of a job to get a label stick to some of them.
So how does that work? And that's something we need to perhaps come back to the Q&A bit again.
Yes.
But in the meantime, it's that's a bit of a dilemma thing. So you feel for those operators getting a bit prepared, but once that's in the hot plate, nobody's ordered that product yet. No. So technically, it's pre-packed for direct sale.
Yes.
So that's a discussion then on how that is packaged. If I'm just trying to going off on a tangent now, allowing that business is a really acutely well structured. And what I mean acutely well structured is that normally in a busy kitchen, some of our supply comes in, it's a different product, we have to change our allergen matrices. If we've got a really rigid system, so it's the same meat, it's the same lettuce, the same bread, the same cheese, the same content for that burger. So, and that's pretty much 100%. It doesn't get to the shoot unless it's from the approved supply chain. Well, that operator, that operator can mass produce labels, could even do it on the actual wax paper. The only thing you need to add there perhaps would be the use by date.
Yeah.
So if you've got an absolute consistent product, you could think, we can mass produce labeling here and have this as our production. And we've got to have quality systems in place to interrupt that if there's a change of ingredient. Yeah. So that's a real...
I mean, you're going back to the labels now, I mean, we'll talk about it in more depth very soon. The types of labels, configuration of labels. Can it be handwritten, for instance? Yeah. We'll answer all that a bit later on. So, Julian, you talked roughly about manufactured products there.
Right, yes.
Secure supply chains, making sure everything comes in. Yeah. This morning, my sauce has turned up. It isn't the same one.
Right, okay. So you've just printed 400 labels. Yeah. You've got all your prep. Your allergen matrices are bang on, and now and it's interesting. So if this was your allergen matrix for your front of house, your main core food service, then you'd have to check the label. You'd have to change the allergen matrix, for just check that it hasn't changed the allergens, for example. However, for PPDS, it's the full ingredient list, so it's even more of a humdinger if that were to happen. So that literally then is a huge expense.
Yeah.
And the industry is plagued with this type of costly mistake, which is easily done. So
I mean, even the manufacturing experts get it wrong.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah.
The FSA itself, you know, their alert system is plagued.
Yes.
You know, with leading manufacturers having to have a recall.
Yeah, and then that's followed up with all the retailers then pinging out recall notifications, doing the right thing. You know,
yes,
it's
obviously.
I mean, it's a lot of it is a little bit of mislabeling. The products themselves, they're good, they're wholesome, they're clean, they're tidy. Such a shame, especially when it's related to beer. When that's mislabeled, it's perfectly fine. It's down a drain. It's extremely sad.
Wow.
Yes.
You've mentioned beer.
I have mentioned beer.
So
first time today.
I have been known to frequent a sporting occasion.
Oh yes. Tell me more.
At a certain interval, I might go to the bar.
Right. Yeah.
And I might ask for a little libation.
A libation. Very nice too.
The member of staff will turn around and pick it up from the back.
Oh yeah. Seen this.
And hand it to me, and I think to myself, how long has that been sat there? It looks as flat as flat.
Yes, and then you notice then the whole bar's got 30 Guinness, 20 Carlings, 10 ciders, and you think, well, okay, everybody's rushing in, and it's this action, isn't it? So they've been sat there. That's a huge one. Yeah. That's a huge one. So what you're saying, that's pre-packed. That has been pre-packed before being offered for sale.
I can't alter it before I get my lips around it.
No. So that's another one. That's another good one for our Q&A at the end.
Especially now, you know, with the advent of the craft lager.
Yes.
And it is important to highlight to everyone that whilst we're talking food, alcohol, normal drinks,
beverages,
anything, you know, anything that can be consumed,
you
know, that is fit for human consumption, you know, is going to come under this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and obviously there are manufacturing labelling laws, etc., in place. We understand that, and you know, that's that. But it's just raising questions, putting thoughts in people's mind, and giving people the answers.
Yeah, and I think that's spot on there. We should always remember it's not just food. So we talk fruit, we talk yogurts. Think about any other liquid base. So your hot soup, that's on a not a massively big thing, because hot soup is a bit iffy. But any liquids that are pre-packed, smoothies, and a lot of great B&I caterers, certainly in city centres. It's extremely popular to have homemade smoothies. It's put into a reusable bottle, and actually I've seen this on a few occasions where it's in a reusable bottle, and so that needs to be labelled with the product and the allergens. Now it needs to be completely labelled with a full ingredient list, and as a little curveball today. A little curveball.
Oh, we like a curveball.
Where we see some products which will have it's a homemade setting, but you've got a straw, and this straw could be sort of slightly attached with a bit of glue, or it's part of the whole presentation. There's some great new straws out there. So we're moving away from plastic straw. I think we've got some paper straws, and cleverly we've got some straws even made out of a pasta base. So, which is cool, very eco-friendly. Brings into the question about, you know, other food materials that are now being used for disposables.
Yes.
So another question there would be, if you are serving something with an edible straw, so that will be probably a pasta type based straw. So we know there's wheat in there, but there'll be other ingredients. But if that's all part of a takeaway PPDS, then the obligation would be, if we're labeling those products, would be to have a subsection, straw.
Yeah, for the additions.
And then likewise, I know a lot of paper straw manufacturing. Sometimes we'll use starch or some materials in the manufacture of that. So there's a food element. So let's not go off on a million tangents today.
It'd be nice to stick to.
It would be nice to stick to the plan. Yeah. But if there are anything edible straws, cups, plates, bowls, biodegradable, compostable materials, just think about it. Hopefully we're on to something that's going to lead to nothing, but just beware if it's food and it's in packaging, and if it's edible or it's coming into contact. Okay, we'll save that for an advanced labeling 2024. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But your point though, that pint, that several pints there, is pre-packaged, it's partially packaged. It can be altered without changing the packaging. That's such a odd set of words to understand, isn't it?
Because I like my lager.
You wouldn't alter it at all. You
don't want a
deplete
dash.
it. You don't want a dash, or you could have a dash if it was self-help. But yeah, let's put that on our list of Q&A for later.
Okay,
yeah,
no
good
problems.
point. Excellent.
So the other one is, and this is perfect example again, and we're talking lid on, lid off.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a technical little loophole that some people are trying to expose.
Yes. Yes.
But this is something that we see quite a lot of. You know, the muffin enwrapped in a wax paper.
Yes. So sometimes these are, okay, this is a very elegant example here. You'll have muffins.
Best for this show.
Well, I've got to say, and you made this yourself this morning, Rob?
Yeah.
The Rob Kitchen, very good. So this, as it stands at the moment, you'll occasionally have this baked, then wrapped accordingly in the decorative wrapping. It could actually be baked in the wrapping. So you think of that type of production for cupcakes, muffins, etc. So what is that then? That's it's partially wrapped.
Yeah.
So therefore, it should have a label. However, can you alter that without touching the packaging? So we're in another dilemma point there.
Yeah.
So
depends how big your fingers are, I suppose.
Yeah, and the example underneath, you got a very delicate boxed. We got the same thing there, basically the same muffin within a delicate box. That if that was on a chiller cabinet or an ambient shelf, a display, part of grab. This is the theme now, isn't it? We're grabbing and going. We go on the till, very little communication, pay and go. We kind of know it's a muffin. Consumers quite happy that's a muffin in there, but that's packaged and they're off. And the only opportunity they're going to seek then to check the ingredients
is if there's a proper label on it.
On the label. So I think we're going to have to chuck that into the Q&A part. The Q&A is going to be about 7 hours at this point.
Yes.
But
listen,
but it'll be a quick fire round. It'll be
quick fire.
The answer to that is that.
Quick fire.
And no
concise. And if it takes 7 hours, as long as we're giving people the guidance that they need, and that's what we're here for. You know, it's to help people. You want to talk about
what's in your grab bag, Rob?
What's in my grab bag? Don't know. I can't see over the counter. I've got my sandwich.
Right. Okay. Now is this the sort of thing? See this a lot in schools.
Yes. So this is where we've got a mixture of items.
Right. Okay.
Between fresh made this morning.
Fresh made sandwich.
Manufactured product.
Right. Easy. Got a label on it.
Yeah. Again, manufactured product.
Easy. Got a label on it.
But But
okay.
I sell it.
Right.
It's a closed up package.
Right.
Packed lunch.
Yeah.
Grab and go snacks.
Right. Okay.
So we've now got a compounded issue.
Right. Yes.
In the fact that we've got some manufactured products.
Yeah.
We've got some PPDS, obviously, the sandwich.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant.
Where do we sit?
Where do we sit exactly? So I think there's a few trains of thought here. Number one is that think delicatessen. So child going to school, places an order at the tutor group meeting in the morning, which is quite commonplace as they sign in. Kids can then sometimes order their lunch for the day. They can opt for the packed lunch. They'll sometimes have a choice of it could be it could be just to the sandwich, so it's tuna, cheese, or ham.
That's where my thoughts were, that generally the only choice you get with picking this
is the filling.
The content of the sandwich.
The content of the sandwich. So there is that interaction there. That's delicatessen ordering process where that student is via the teacher, classroom teacher, goes to the kitchen, and then so long as there's an identification on that bag, the name of the student who's ordered that bag, or reference that's the ham choice that the students made, that could be perceived as that's a deli service, so that's pre-ordered. But interestingly, when you started to roll that bag over, then that's packaging. Then that is then.
I thought I'd throw that one.
Oh, really? That's like so. It depends on the context of that, because what you can have with those grab, if you've got again the cold counter and you've got a sort of section of
how about
grab bag one, grab meal deal 1, 2,
meal
3
deal in a bag,
it's ready to go. So again, we're grabbing this from the cold counter, very little oral communication with the till. Thank you very much. Pay, go. You need something on that to scrutinise what the ingredients are on there, and it could be that individual items within that bag.
Yeah. So people are then saying to me, well, there's only one item in there that's PPDS.
Yeah.
I get you're now telling me, because I've sealed it up and I'm selling it for that.
Yeah, now
it's
it's
PPDS.
yeah.
But 3 of the products are manufactured.
Yeah.
So the information's already on there, so why do I have to put it on the front as well?
Yes, yeah. Well, this is it. Does the labelling need to be on the single items in there? But it's creating that encasement, isn't it?
Yes.
So I think that's definitely something we need to check into the Q&A. I think that's more straightforward because it's the ordering principle. I think if people have done, and the same applies if it's, we're thinking mass catering here. It's a combination of preparing 3 different types of grab bag because you know the customer base will either have tuna, cheese or chicken or ham. And so it's a bit controlled. And also what's important to mention within certainly like a primary school setting, the care and attention that the caterers, the school and the parents have to protect hypersensitive pupils is outstanding. Let's face it, that's one of the best, care, hospital, healthcare, education, the professional B&I catering setup. And I think since the beginning of the allergen regulations in 2014, I've always been acutely aware of this. So within that setting, you've got other measures to protect those customers. So there is an allergen or diet reference point for all the students that are affected by allergens in school. So there would have been a control measure or several measures before that consumer gets a hold of that bag. So,
and again, we've probably come back there to allergen management, HACCP plans, communication, empowerment, training.
Exactly, yes,
and you know, for all of these products, regardless of whether they need a label or they don't need a label. People are inquisitive. People are becoming more inquisitive about what's in their food. And it's, you know, the welfare and everything else. Sustainability. So giving staff the knowledge of the products, you know, it's invaluable. You know, and to be able to upsell as well, you know, in these environments, especially B&I environments. Education, not so much, I understand, you know. But catering as a whole, you know, it's supposed to be a pleasurable experience. So
absolutely. And so it's that we're taking everything to the next step on open transparency on what's in our products, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's all for the right reasons, which is to give that extra layer of protection to someone that is food hypersensitive. Also, it protects you as a business. If you've written that on a label and God forbid there's an issue, and you've got records of what that label was, and you're being contacted by some authority, and you can say, actually, we know it's on our label, it's on our product, that was certainly on that product, go into that.
And that's where automated systems help,
the business.
Obviously.
And well, you know, this is all building up to, and we're gonna come on to this shortly, I know, but this is all building up to how do we knock up those. You mentioned a little bit.
So how do we get the information from here? Onto a label.
Hang on,
goes on here.
with a magnifying glass.
Yes.
And then get that into some kind of shape that that fits on a product. Here you go. Right. Okay. Right. Thankfully, granola, yogurt in there. So we've got some milk, yogurt, granola, which would be, is that granola or oats?
Yes, it's just granola.
Just
so
granola.
Just,
so
seeds
oats, pumpkin seeds. So okay. Well, that won't be too much of a
and this is the problem as well, isn't it? Because we're now talking about a full ingredient declaration.
Yes, it's not just this contains milk. I mean, there's with that we've got wheat, maybe oats in there. So you've got wheat, oats, milk. You know, allergen. That'd be quite straightforward.
It would be if it was just allergens.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, there's freeze-dried strawberries in there. There's know, other things. So you're then saying, just say that had a bit of honey on it as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So you've now got 3 component parts, all with their ingredients.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the size of your pot.
Yeah. Okay. So
you've got a minimum font size.
You'd literally have to have a surround sound label there from a very clever printer that can print off an inch sort of thick, you know, and to get that covered. It's difficult, and we understand it's difficult, and we're trying to help provide solutions, you know, for these particular problems. With you guys, and as we've said before, Rob, it's the whilst going through each of these scenarios, it's like, and again, it's not looking for loopholes, but what are we doing that we could ditch some of the packaging as well? Because we are, you know, within catering, we're always being plagued by everything. So waste management, so sustainability, packaging is the top one on the agenda.
It's the biggest one, but we've also got that that hygiene element, haven't we?
But, yes.
Especially, you know, like with the muffin here. You know, they're in a cold cabinet.
Yeah.
Someone goes in, oh, I don't actually like that one.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
That one's got a bit more toffee in it, so I'll have that one there.
So that wouldn't really work. For that to be consumer grab and go, I'd want that. And I'd want that on a counter under a cloche, and I want a customer, I'll have that one, please. And I'd want to serve that from a protected environment. And actually, if I'm doing that, then onto a plate, that would be a loose food, potentially with a bit of paper garnish, or if that's then naked, for want of a bit of catering phrase, then that's being served there. So that's a total control by the caterer. And you're right, if this was on, I know plenty of people will say to me is that the partial packaging thing, when it's for, go back to my same, there is no counter over there. Go to my counter, grab it, and get the label and pay. But actually, yeah, you're right. We do like to have a bit of a rummage in a retail setting.
I mean, obviously, it's a good while since I've been in this environment and producing these goods and getting them wrapped and stuff. You know, I hold my hands up, and you know, things have moved on. But I remember the old crocodile heat sealer. Yeah. You know, you get your little bit of packaging, your crocodile heat sealer, bump, excess packaging away. Yeah, so your cellophane, crocodile sealer in there, and that there's no doubt then. That's a packaged product then. And if it's on your grab and go station there, and it's you consult that label at your leisure once you make that purchase. Yeah. So we're gonna have a sesh now on labeling. On labels. Right, Julian, we're at the point of labelling. I'm presuming there is a standard. Well, we all know there's a standard. Yeah. That's something silly to say, but go on, off you go.
Okay, all right, excellent. Well, before we get in the nitty-gritty, I'm just going to consult the Oracle, the resource pack. So just to recap then, we know it's coming out in October. We know we need to label a lot of items with the name of the food, what it is, ingredients, all the allergens then highlighted in bold. And it's been fascinating today because we've looked at our, you know, it's considered packaged when it's either fully or partly enclosed by the packaging and cannot be altered without opening or changing the packaging, and it's ready for sale to the final customer. So it is useful to refresh the legalities and the basic structure, which does also say a minimum font size and you know exactly what needs to be on there. So okay, well, the best way to do this is why we're here today, is let's get a label on it. And there's a song there somewhere. Okay. No. I'll work on that.
Yeah, we'll work on that one. So this is obviously, it's not been ordered at point.
Right, okay.
It's been closed up. It is grab and go.
Yeah.
It is in the hot cupboard. So we've got our labels here.
Okay.
Now, whilst there is a standard, and you know we meet that standard.
Right. Okay.
Make sure your label's in a prominent position.
Right. Okay.
Make sure your label is suitable for the environment which you're keeping the product. So we've had a couple of calls where people have contacted us and said, "My label's gone black." Well, that's because it's not meant for the hot environment. So you know, get good advice. If you're unsure, give us a shout. You know, that's what we're here for. You know. For those of you that are attending today, don't forget, if you really are stuck, there's a free half-hour one-to-one with Julian and myself on offer. So, you know, drop us an email, pick the phone up, do what, you know, we'll do our best to answer all your questions outside of here. So, one client wanted to reinforce their allergen statement.
Right, yeah.
So, as we can see, we've got
a cheeseburger.
We've got the company logo.
Company logo,
we've
name
got the
of the
title
product.
of the food.
Yeah.
All the ingredients, all the allergens are highlighted.
Yeah.
But what they wanted a separate allergen statement.
Okay.
Reinforcing.
So that is an addition, totally separate to the legal requirement. Legal requirement is the list there, but you're saying one of your clients said the preference is there to go straight to which is fine. So you've got to get your minimum. You can have what else you want, is that what you're saying? So if you're bespoke in that for a particular need, I guess that's fine. So, but the essentials are, the name of the product, ingredients in that format, a minimum font size, and a use by date.
Yeah.
And okay.
And
it's interesting.
Whilst we were always talking about bold, the guidance does actually say it has to be distinguishable from the others.
Yes.
So we have had one client that's requested to have the allergens printed in a different colour.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you've got that environment and
contrast, highlight, bold, it's just, you know,
make it stand out.
It just needs to be red, and that is frustrating with labels in general. So it needs to be big enough you can see there at a glance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Done.
So
Happy
exhibit
with that
A.
one?
So right, well done. Yes. Yeah. Is that it? That's brilliant. Thank you. Oh, there's more.
No.
There's more.
So we've already.
Are we back
decided,
to the hot dog?
We're back to the hot dog.
Down, boy. Down.
We've already decided. You're down. You're out.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've exhausted the hot dog.
Right. We've exhausted the hot
Okay.
dog.
I like where this is going.
Yeah. We've got our little pots.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Primary school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think primary. Yeah.
We've got a label.
Yeah.
And because there's not a lot of ingredients in there,
Right.
you're not too bad.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Yeah.
but
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So maybe
Yeah.
over the seal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Or
Yeah.
you get a shorter label. Yeah. Or if you're able to,
Yeah.
a round one.
label, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to think about the cut of label
Yes.
to match your product.
But that also brings with it its own problems, obviously, because if you're getting a round label on there,
Yeah.
your print diameter, etc.,
Yes.
all reduces.
Ah. Okay.
So the more ingredients you have in that little pot,
Yeah.
the harder it is to get it on a round label
Right. Yes.
because
With
of the
you.
minimum font size.
Yes.
So
Okay.
all to be taken into consideration.
Right. Okay.
Best solution for the best product,
Yeah.
always got to be looking for that.
Okay. Be nice to work out what that solution would be.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
we can have a look at the solutions in a minute.
Right. Okay.
We'll finish with these two.
That led on nicely. Didn't
Yes, it
Yeah.
did well.
Okay. Right. But
You're always handing me the link.
can I just say thanks for not eating that, by the way?
Well,
So the
did have-
temptation must be.
I did have my eye on it for later, to be fair.
Oh, okay. All right. Well.
So, we've decided,
Right.
definitely labelled.
Well, it's.
Grab and
Can
go.
I do my grab and go chiller?
Do your grab and go.
Little oral pay and
I'm
go.
not being funny. You've
No.
had more exercise today
Yes,
than you've done. Well, anyway,
Stepometers going good on this arm. Right. Okay.
this one, we're almost certain,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
we're going to raise the question.
Yeah.
We'll clear it up in the Q&A.
Yes.
And
Okay.
if we can't clear it up in the Q&A,
Yeah.
then we'll come back with a definitive and we'll
Yeah.
make sure everybody finds out exactly
Yes.
what that is.
Yeah. And I do think we are hygiene. We've lived through hygiene training from the age of whenever. So I'm not going to do the count because we know where I'm going with
I'm
that.
glad you keep them
But
come this way.
if within a rummaging element of open food service, where customers do like to do this, and I knew this in schools, in any environment really. So the touch point, and I'm purely hygiene now, I'd want that in. What do you say? Your crocodile sealer, bit of cellophane. You'd want that kind of protected, unless it's on that elegant serving
we
point,
keep mentioning,
or in a different type of.
you know,
If we're serving this here, sorry, in your space there, if you're serving this here, then you're not going to get hundreds of customers doing this on a plain
you're
card.
not.
But I'm glad what you're saying. You're going to come back and say, right, this is how to manage this particular gorgeous, slightly melting chocolate muffin.
Yeah, it's mine, by
Okay,
the way.
right. Yeah, just.
And then we
Okay.
have the smorgasbord that is the pack
Right.
lunch
Now then.
with the multiple
So-
products manufactured and PPDS.
Yes. Okay.
So we're saying label on,
Right.
but
Yeah.
do we need all the labels, all the ingredients for the manufactured products?
Yes.
I say yes.
Okay.
It doesn't amount to a hell of a lot of ingredients.
Yeah. So
On there.
what's on this? Is
So
that
on there-
everything that we've got in our grab bag?
Everything that we've got in the grab bag.
Right. Okay.
So you can see we've got bread there,
Yeah.
wheat,
Excellent.
and then we've got the drink,
Yeah.
we've got the thing.
Okay. So what you've done there, you've created a perfect grab bag,
Yeah.
takeaway, full label. So if you do that demo again with that scrunched over, so it could be actually in a.
Well, it could be scrunched over with a label
Oh, hello.
like that.
Which kind of acts as a bit of a security tag as well. I like
Exactly.
that. I like that. So that's tamper-proof as well now.
Yes.
We're taking this to a new level now. So
Yeah.
food security, which is a bonus for today's webinar.
Yeah.
Well done. So and that would satisfy, I think, any inspectorate to
Yeah.
go. Sorry, I'm not going to do it now. To go to that.
go
chiller
this way for a
counter.
change if you want.
There's one over there. I'm going to go to this counter, here it is, and there's a description in there. Hopefully that will explain what it is. Yeah. It's fruit, the composition there. That's all covered. So that's the first thing you see with the packaging. Okay, when there is, we'll look at it's the individual items going in there. They've not been, if they've been not, you know, if that
manufactured products, pre-packaged products.
Yeah, if they're pre-packaged before they're being ordered, that single item, does that need its own individual label? That is still a question.
Yes.
The manufacturing items there.
It's now in the
but no, what you've
package.
created is, what do we call this then? This is a meal deal.
Yeah.
This is the whole meal deal, which is very popular in all kinds of environments. Yeah. When you're in that sort of, I'm thinking of a lot of staff restaurants, busy universities where you have a particular type of staff who want to run in. They haven't got time to sit down and dine, which is a shame. You know, they're on a schedule. They know they will normally go for a particular type of grab bag. The caterer gets wind of this, so they do prepare 50, 100 of these, could be, for a big environment. So you could have a variety of 10 or 5 different compositions in there, and you knock them up. You bag them, you label them.
Could quite
that
easily
is
be
a
a school
comprehensive. Well, no, okay.
And
You're taking this to
the child hasn't had a choice of what's in the sandwich.
Yes. Right. Okay. So, and to avoid any mystery, if a child, especially one that is listed as perhaps having a sensitivity to something, you've got a member of staff thinks, oh, hang on, right, let's, hurrah, it's there. Yeah. Okay. All right, so this is advanced labeling now, looking at multi-packaged food service in a bag
again, it's about,
by Rob with his own label.
It's due diligence, isn't it? You know,
it's
taking care of yourself and taking care of your customer.
And let's always go back to this point. What is this all about? It's having that information available, and in the circumstance where there's less likelihood of engagement between the customer and the caterer, the person serving, the chef coming out. In a restaurant, in a classic cuisine environment, which is table served food, for want of a better terminology, there is naturally that engagement where a consumer can say, hey, I've got allergy intolerance to XYZ. The server then can enact their allergen, highly well-trained allergen management principles and techniques and deal with that customer economy. Done. So it's outside that environment, in the retailing environment. And when I say retail like this, I'm trying to say that there is...
it is a bit of an ambiguous title,
there's the definition, which is high street, a classic sandwich shop, which exists on chiller cabinets everywhere. There's one there and one there. They're all around, and there's someone serving. So it's quite a simple, quick, nifty operation. And then within a food service operation, and I was thinking of a staff canteen, university campus, a large food court arena, there's always the retail section, which is a grab and go, hot or cold or ambient station where customers go, they grab something, put it on their tray, they go to the till, it's beeped, hi, thank you, have a nice day, and gone.
Yeah.
Right, so retail exists within a food service. It can be part of the operation, can't it? Right, okay. I think we've come up with a lot of good solutions and thoughts today. We've almost cracked PPDS and Natasha's Law. We're almost there.
Well, let's talk about how we get the information on the label.
Okay.
How we produce the label.
If I'm honest, Rob, this is my scary bit. And you said it earlier. You can handwrite these things. But if I'd be in jail.
Well, to be fair,
I can't read my own writing.
My writing's like a spider with a broken leg.
Okay, but so it can be done. Some people are really good at writing.
Yeah.
You may have to have something quite.
And listen, it is an option. You know?
And if you imagine a product that you go back to your jack potato idea, it's jack potato, cheese. The ingredients there be really simple. Yeah. And you can check, double check, verify, which you have to do on everything. Your allergen charts, your allergen. So there could be a component of your PPDS which can be done on the day, perhaps with. So okay, but park that. The majority is going to be a lot of words. That's my big concern.
This doesn't necessarily have to cost a fortune.
Right. Okay. Well, this is, you know, from the beginning of this, caterers are going to be spending millions on print, software, hardware, and that, if I'm honest, Rob, that as a caterer, frustrates me for two reasons. One, I'm not very techie, as you may have known, and two, it's caterers have got to buy this, they've got to sign up to that, they've got to have another license here, license there. On top of that, I mean, you know,
I'll tell you what, let me stop you there.
I'm waffling, please. Thank you.
Let me stop you there, and I'll tell you why. because I've got the solution for you.
Right.
And I'm going to show it to you.
Right. Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, okay. Right then, Rob, what do we have here?
Well, Julian, we've obviously been talking about labels, applications, and having a digital partner to work with. Obviously, CaterCloud, we have a solution, our free-to-use platform for menu costing, allergen management, label printing. So most people are familiar with this piece of kit, standard office printer. Most kitchens, as we know, don't have the facility for Wi-Fi or having printers in.
Yeah. So this is a standard office. You'll see these anywhere. So okay, so that could be the print cost solution.
Yeah, print cost solution. You've already got it. It's already within your the business budget. Print straight from CaterCloud application. Various templates, various permissionable attributes as to what you want on the label. Obviously, the important ones are all there, but a description of the dish, etc., etc. So there's various permissional levels, and then like I said earlier, we've got a fantastic platform, and again, I'm going to emphasise it's free to use because the charges of some of our competitors out there is absolutely astronomical, and post-COVID, people haven't got the money, but this law's coming in and they've got to get on board. So we've given this back to the industry. That's what we've done as a company, but we're not the experts in everything. So we've got third-party label providers. We've got Daymark with their MAT85 menu command and menu pilot for roll printers straight in the kitchen. Durable piece of kit. Very, very competitive rates, especially if you come and see me. And then through APIs, we push the information straight from CaterCloud. That's all in there, all the nutritionals, all the allergen information, straight through to these guys, or our other partner, Planglo, which draw fed even sheets, A4 sheets, labels, various designs. Yeah. So minimal cost. There's no charge for using our third-party providers. Yeah. And CaterCloud's free. So I said earlier, it doesn't have to be expensive. Yeah, it's the and our solution won't suit everybody, but it will suit most of you. So pick the phone up, email, etc. Just get on board.
So the crucial thing is that some awesome label templates, which are superb, ink within a printer and printer. So then, depending on the operation, you need to then set out what else you need. If it's kitchen-based printers, sounds great. So, but technically, for the cost of ink and some print label, we can achieve.
We've got a solution.
We've got a solution. Right. Okay. That's the important thing. That and I guess what type of business you are, the volume of print and labels you need
will decide
is going to dictate
the equipment that you need.
Yeah.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I just
wonderful.
think get it out there. Yeah. Let's get people on board. Yeah. If you're worried, you've got a few issues. We've already said there's a free one-to-one with Julian and I after this webinar. So,
yeah, more than happy to talk at length on any of these aspects. It is a journey. The whole implementation of allergen regulation has been a massive journey. It started many years ago. If you look at the legislation 2011, so enforceable 2014. It's a long journey, and we're just on that next part of that now. So it's been brilliant, Rob. So it's simplicity, what you've done so far, and just to prove the point that you've said something earlier, it's not about adding that extra big expense to catering management yet again. Let's use this regulation, use it wisely, turn it into something that's part and parcel of business, but don't go spending heaps on a package.
I'll tell you one thing we haven't mentioned throughout all of today. Yeah. And that is the big grey area. Yeah. May contains. Yeah. So we've obviously, you and I have worked together for a few years now. Yes. And collaborated on CaterCloud. Yeah. And within the features of CaterCloud, we have the ability to meet allergen accreditation standard by turning may contains off. We have the ability to upload a risk assessment so that you can add a may contain. But obviously, we know that point is a bit mute in the community, and it does take a lot of choice away from people.
It does, yeah. And just to clarify that, within any establishment, I'm thinking of just a product, a PPDS labelled sandwich through to a big catering operation. Operators have always had an element of default setting that if they're not 100% sure what products are in their packaging or within their dish that they're serving, then the term may contain can be used. But you can only use that after a meaningful or thorough risk assessment, meaning you can't just say may contain. And the issue, I'm glad you said it's contentious, because the issue is that a lot of producers, caterers, operators, manufacturers use this expression far too loosely and without much substantial evidence as to how they've gotten there. So if you are you're a hypersensitive customer, you get to, and let's think PPDS, you get to this wonderfully glossy label on what looks like a phenomenal sandwich from a super shop, and at the bottom there it's got may contain several allergens made in the factory. All that to me seems to be a huge waste of time. So if you're creating a catering business to carry this logo, which is allergen accreditation, which is the industry best practice standard, the use of may contain isn't, it can't be done, because you have to declare all the ingredients in your product. If you don't know what's in there, you'll be struggling to become allergen accredited. So there's the difference.
Yeah.
A big part of the market will exist with using some element of may contain statements, and that's their prerogative. There is a rationale behind that. Manufacturing use this because the ingredient is not an intentional part of the component. It's possibly come into contact at some point in production. So as it's unintentional, the use of may contain is perfectly legal, don't get me wrong. But it can only be expressed when you've got a tangible reason for that. So if you have that element of may contain in your labeling, be prepared to be asked questions, which defeats the entire object of taking the verbal communication away from your business. You're now going back to verbal. So it makes it a bit pointless to say our products could contain anything.
I'll tell you what.
But this is allergen accreditation. So I'll zip that at this point. But the functionality is there.
Yeah,
that's the crucial thing.
There.
If you're allergen accredited or not, then this system is, and it's great that you've got this this switch off mode.
It just gives again, it just gives our users, the chance to be industry leading and get the allergen accreditation. And again, collaboration over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Julian's had this standard out for a number of years now. Recently revised, there's now a 3-step entry process. So there's a gold, silver and bronze.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you don't need to go headlong into it. You can work your way up to the gold standard.
Yeah.
But for any more information on that, drop me an email, drop Julian an email.
Yeah,
and we'll get that over to you as soon as possible. Yeah. But the big question is, what do may contains mean to the consumer?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I asked the question, what do may contains mean to the consumer?
Yeah.
We've got the lovely Laura here, our host for today, so thank you very much.
You're all welcome.
Well?
It doesn't mean anything. It's on everything.
See that? This has always been my thing. When the laws came out all these years ago, and it does say, you can say may contain, then it was a thorough risk assessment. That's been softened now to a meaningful review. Yeah. But it's exactly.
When it's on everything, it becomes worthless.
Yeah.
And something like an ice lolly, it's on an ice lolly. And I understand it can be made in the same factory, but what are the chances of it being in an ice lolly?
Yeah, I suppose, and that's where, for us as caterers, and we have HACCP plans, and we have flow charts, and we have, documentation coming out of our ear holes, really, shouldn't we be able to control it that little bit more?
Yes.
So that, we're not restricting hypersensitive people, from choice. Yeah.
And that is it. I feel like I'm playing Russian roulette with my life constantly, every time I eat, because it is on everything. But if I don't take those chances, then I'm a rabbit on rabbit food. Because I can't enjoy those nice luxury foods.
Yeah.
But then
couldn't do rabbit food.
But if I go to a friend's house, they have to feel like they have to cater for me separately, because everything may contains, and they don't want to take the chances.
Yeah.
So, and it's
which is a good point. So it's you as a person, then you got you, your family, your friends. So when you're all going out, it is a wider influence, isn't it? Which restaurant you choose or where to go.
We're already limiting them a little bit.
Or they just leave you at home. Obviously, there is that option. Sorry. But yeah, so you influence a wider group. And if you imagine 2 million times a group of family, this is where, it's a big community.
Oh, it's massive.
I don't know what the solution is. I mean, I can say that manufacturers, caterers, anybody in the allergen accreditation, sorry for going on about, in the family has had to scrutinize every manufacturer label, ring them up, why do you make contain? Okay, it does, doesn't. So the matrices are fine. When you produce your PPDS, it's fine. But whilst that's going on, there's the demand from customers. So we need a bit of clarity. Yeah. And also, it's a lot of food manufacturing and process is improving. There are some wicked manufacturers out there who deliberately drop, and they even say there's a sign saying we've no allergens declared there because there is no make contain in our factory. So it is getting better. I think we are getting better.
I think one of the big problems for me is that Company X buys Company Y, and moves production into the same factory or whatever. And we go back to your rice lolly, where, hold on a minute, can contain egg. Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
May contain egg. But why? It's a case of, we have got to a stage in this world of manufacturing, in this world of food, where one company makes so many different lines that actually default may contain. And it isn't good. And there has to be a better answer. And I know you and I, Julian, we're collaborating with Cambridge University on a piece.
There's other things going on which we're involved with, which is...
It's constantly going on to improve the situation.
Yes,
but
I do have to say, restaurants are getting better. You can go online to certain restaurants and look at the menu, and you can select your allergy, and it eliminates the foods you can't eat. But then there are others still that we've got that file going, actually we don't really want to serve you because we don't want to take the risk. We don't know where we buy our products from. I know, because my brother, I have got a nut allergy and it is quite severe, or very severe, should I say. My brother is anxious to eat out with me because he's seen the reactions I have. So it's very rare my brother will come for a meal out with me because he doesn't like seeing me in that situation. He doesn't want me to take that risk. But then I'm not going to put my life on hold because I can't risk eating out anywhere.
I mean, don't shoot me for saying it, but you seem quite confident and a forward person. And if you were in a restaurant, you would sit there and ask and say, can it, will it, does it? What's the chances of? But some people don't and don't feel comfortable with it. I mean, one of the features of CaterCloud is a QR code. So discreetly, you can sit there, scan the QR code, look at the menu of the establishment
all
that you're
ingredients,
in.
All the allergens,
all the ingredients, all the allergens.
Which is which is meeting that part of the population that is it's all relative to PPDS. People do want to grab a product, they don't engage in conversation. So there are some new nifty things coming out.
I do feel when I order, I apologise all the time. I'm really sorry, I have an allergy. I'm really sorry, just because I feel like I'm a hindrance and I'm being awkward when it's. I didn't ask for it. I was born with it.
I mean. God, it winds me up, it really does. But between CaterCloud, between allergen accreditation, and the steps that are being taken around, like you say, some restaurants are better than others, and it is getting better.
Yes. Definitely.
For sure.
And I think between us, there are solutions out there. We can, help people. We can improve people's lives, and improving people's lives, in turn, improves business.
Exactly. It's good for business.
It's all circular. It all drives itself. The more turnover you have, the more people you're getting through the door, the more people you can employ. The better your brand, etc., etc. But it takes that one mistake to wipe out years and years of work.
Isn't it?
And that's for me. That's why too many people, for my money, rely on may contains.
And it's the severity of some allergies as well, of making sure that the restaurants and the chefs understand how severe they can be. I've had in the past people go, no, this dish doesn't contain it. Well, I've been severely ill because it's actually been made in a pan that the previous dish was. So it's the education more than anything.
Training. We've already mentioned it today.
since we started talking about making it, it's just train, keep it going.
You can't have enough training.
But then equally, imagine staff, if 90% of the time you're out there and the catering bit isn't perhaps 100% allergen super duper compliant, but the customer care is like, oh, do you know what? We don't have a thing, but we can offer this is definitely guaranteed.
Yes.
But it's the courtesy and making you feel at ease and a human being. I had a lovely quote from a chef yesterday that was extremely emotional, and the consultation was with a gluten-free, a celiac child. She must have been 9, and I won't mention the name, in a school who's part of a MasterChef interview. She was on my interview panel to interview a team of chefs, which is amazing.
Fantastic.
And there was 3 different chef catering teams, and 2 of them really good, and then this 3rd team. So she explained ever so polite, but very eloquently and professionally for a youngster, and her head teacher was glowing with pride on this. But it was, okay, so I'm gluten-free, and I'd love to have fish and chips on Friday, but the bread, protein, the crumbs, and the chef said, well, for you, and she was anxious about her feeling special. And she didn't want to feel special. She just wanted to feel like a child in a room with her friends.
Inclusive.
And I can't think of his exact words, but they use this. I think it's Rice Krispies. They make these fish goujons, and then it's crunchy Rice Krispies. So it's a Rice Krispie bake. It's delicious, really. So there's no breadcrumbs, there's no wheat. It's gluten-free product.
Innovation.
Cooked correctly, absolutely. And so it was. We create a special meal for everybody, so you don't feel special. Everybody feels. And
everybody's getting the same meal
in such a way.
But you're taking into account.
This young individual, this young girl, 8, 9 years old, was just thinking, and the whole room went silent, thinking, Absolutely. So there are steps caterers can do. Yes. It's that effort is priceless. Is absolutely priceless. So it can be done. I'd just like just leading on what you were saying. We have collaborated, and things are getting better. They are. They really are. We knew we were on a journey. We predicted in 2013 that the allergen route will take about 6 years to bed in. Same as the Food Safety Act, that took forever to bed in. We're there now. We've had a bit of a glitch. You know, we've not been very busy for a year, a little missed a year. But towards the end of this year, next year, we're going to be going on this trajectory to make your experiences going out, buying a sandwich, 100%. And and see him if you're not happy.
Oh, I will.
Well done to him. Excellent.
Well, I think we've had
a
great session. I think you and I, Julian, have definitely earned a cup of tea.
Yes.
We'll have a run through of the questions.
Yeah, we've got a lot of questions. There was a lot raised there, so we'll be working on those for the next section for the webinar today, which is all about the answers to these. Can I just say, while we're all here, a big thank you to Laura, who's kindly let us use her kitchens here in Manchester, which has been fantastic. And so this couldn't have been done without you. So thank you very much.
Without jesting. No, without me. I would take all the credit.
Thank you very much. Yeah, much appreciated.
So Julian, cup of tea, sit down.
Yeah.
Let's rattle through these questions and see what the audience have had to say.
Yeah, excellent. Brilliant. Cheers.
Okay.
Right, see you in a bit.
And we're back. So I hope you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen. I know we certainly did.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
And we do have the obligatory cup of tea.
Cheers.
So cheers to that. So as we've seen during the video there, Julian, we raised a number of our own questions.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for all the questions you've put through. Hopefully we've given you some structured answers, and you're happy with that. Again, as we advertised, there's a free half-hour one-to-one with Julian and ourselves. If you're really struggling and you really need some more information, so please get in contact with us at support@CaterCloud.com, and we'll arrange a call, a Teams meeting, or whatever, so that we can assist you. So my first question, lid on or lid off?
Lid on, lid off. Oh, before we go into that, we do have a poll that's on the system now. So whilst we're having a quick Q&A, if you wouldn't mind responding to the poll that we've got coming up on the screen, that you can access quite. I'm saying this, I'm just looking at the camera. I don't know if it's on the screen. I'm sure it will be, but you can just click your opinion on that before as we progress. But yeah, let's go back to Rob's question: lid on, lid off, and it's probably crops up at least. I don't know. It's every day.
Now. It's every day, like, just recently.
Yeah, and it's a lot of this is in a sort of a school dining setup where you have got prepared fruit pots, jellies, etc. and it is for the rush. A lot of these are in disposable. A lot of these are in sort of melamine reusable pots, etc. But technically, the answer is technically we've got it's if you are preparing a potted something that's not pre-ordered, so it's literally in packaging. It's prepared. It's not been pre-ordered. Then that item does require a label. And then when it comes to lid on, lid off, it's packaged. We have to be technical now. That's all we can do is follow the, if you can alter the packaging, you can alter the food without altering the packaging by definition.
Yes.
In a grammatical sense.
Yeah.
By the order of the English language.
And again,
then if it's an open container that you can alter the food without altering the packaging, and that does not need a label, but you still have to. I think it's the wider consideration. If you're in a communication less, I don't worry an awful lot about the school sector because the allergen management controls are so brilliant. Like healthcare education, there's a care plans. No child goes to a counter without a supervisor having a knowledge of someone that's got an allergen intolerance. So
and again, in the care sector, people are aware that Marjorie or Tom has these.
So it's fully covered there. So we would probably strongly argue that anything that's prepared in a grab and go cold counter should be fully labelled. Okay. What was the next one?
So we'll go for the burger. In a wrap.
Yeah.
So it's not in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the wax paper wrap. That's commonly within fast food outlets where you've got burger shoots. They're wrapped in, ready for the rush. So they are technically they're basically wrapped and packaged before being ordered. Therefore, they will require full ingredients listing. They would be PPDS, and the hope there is we must talk to some of the colleagues in that sector. But if they, and we touched on this earlier, if we've got a setup whereby the ingredients and labelling can be universal, because their food control is 99 point. They very rarely substitute. They very rarely, so they could mass produce wax paper print, couldn't they? So as long as they're using the right one for that product, so there's no avoidance of that one. So,
and then we have
the ubiquitous muffin,
the muffin, and this is for you, bud.
What can I say? Thank you. Oh, it's thank you. That's very nice. So, well, I think we're at the same boat with muffins as well, aren't we? So it's interesting that we've got, and it's cropped up within the Q&A, which is really good. I think we're of that belief. It's the where you have a product which is actually this is on camera now, so that's going to go straight in my bag and with too. Where you do have a product which is well, thanks for raising the query. This is under a dome on a counter, on a cosh, and therefore someone's coming to the counter ordering. I'll have that case there. It's literally and then served on a plate. That is not PPDS. That's regular allergen control and management. And then if you're in a perhaps a larger environment, which is grab and go, these products need to be consumers are grabbing it for themselves. There's the hygiene issue. These things really ought to be wrapped in something more substantial. But it's so you've got to, I think the whole allergen journey going back from 2014 is that you have to see this. What is the objectives? Protect people, to inform customers, to make informed choice. And also what we must do is consider hygiene. So if that is in an area where customers can fumble around.
Pick it up, put it back because the other one's got more chocolate in it or a better topping. Then
so
it'd be ideal, really. In our opinion as caterers, on a hygiene level, I personally in my kitchen I would want it completely wrapped.
Yes, so we need to be best practice at all times. Food safety, allergen safety. If this is a product within your regular retail section of the grab and go. It will be infiltrated with other fingers coming in. Technically, the packaging, you could change the food without changing the packaging, but what risk at your? However, if these are served on under a decorated bowl, kosh on the counters, the control with the caterer there is far better. So there will be two types of muffin.
Yeah.
What's next?
We'll go for the packed lunch, the grab bag.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and I know we spent a lot of time on this on the within the school setting. You're looking at doing ordering a packed lunch. So it generally, if this is very popular, certainly in the summer months, where students have the option to choose technically a picnic bag for lunch. So if they're ordering that, or a parent is ordering that, so they're choosing in the morning a ham, something sandwich, another item, etc. Then that instruction goes to the kitchen. That's then prepared with that person's name on that grab bag.
Yeah,
that is a delicatessen communication. So that does not require PPDS, as that is made to order and then is collected accordingly. Where a lot of situations where the caterer is prepared, an assumption that they'll be doing 50 to 100 grab bags or takeaway bags, assuming that some customers will choose that when they come for lunch.
Yeah,
now that's not
as an option.
As an option. Now that's not pre-ordered.
Yeah.
So therefore, that does require PPDS, and it's quite clear in the guidance now. It's each item within that grab bag. If it is PPDS, meaning if it's a sandwich, for example, that will require its own label because it's pre-packed for direct sale, and each item that is within packaging within that grab bag needs.
We'll have a label because it's pre-packaged.
Yes, exactly. And I think when we look in that demonstration earlier about the labeling the grab bag, certainly for the convenience of that in a retail display, you can see exactly what's in the packaging without having to rummage in there.
Yeah.
So all the customer facing information, ingredients. So actually that's an added benefit and value. Definitely would work well for that sort of that grab bag scenario. Brilliant.
So obviously, as I mentioned, I do like to frequent a sporting occasion.
Yes.
And have a little libation.
Yeah. Okay.
At the half time, shall we say?
Yes,
maybe before, maybe if we've won, we'll have one afterwards.
But exactly
those pints or those drinks
that
are pre-poured, sat on the back shelf, waiting for a customer to come forward and say, "I'll have one of those, please." Yeah,
exactly. So these are pre-poured. Now let's how are we going to do? I think we found the answer, but so the situation, you've got 20 pints poured on the back bar, ready for that rush. So is that's been pre-prepared, packaged before it's being ordered?
Yes,
it's whatever. Okay, so
what are you saying?
Well,
I'd say
I would say,
but there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we have to be categoric here. Certainly, if this is, and it does happen sometimes, certainly in sports stadiums, if they are lidded, so that they're a sealed packaged unit, then that's pre-packed for direct sale.
Yeah.
And that would require a label or a sleeve. And I've had lots of discussions on this in terms of if you offer that type of disposable vessel or plastic for that type of environment. So it is a reusable pot, then having a sleeve or something that's a universal ingredient or list, or you have a generic label, because that product, beer, lager, cider, Guinness, the consistency on your labeling. So mass sounds like a lot of kerfuffle. But if you are doing that within a sleeve, similarly, if you've pre-packed hot drinks where they're all prepared in advance, teas, coffees, if it's lidded, that's it's just prepared before it's being offered for sale.
So we're back to lid on, lid off.
We are kind of, so that's technically lid on. It's prepared in advance for direct sale. So, but there's a fine line there. Where do we go with this? We need to always balance food safety, legislation, and the right thing. And the right thing is always to do the best for all customers to make sure that allergen ingredient information is always available.
Exactly. Okay. Ladies and gents, I can see a few questions popping up as we're having this discussion. Rest assured, I will get back to you as soon as we can. And get those questions covered off.
Okay.
So we've had a lot of people asking questions around the care sector, and you know, it is, you know, a pretty grey area, to be fair, with regards to the way that these operators, you know, and the constraints that they have on a day-to-day basis, staffing, you know, where they'll have days where the evening meal is perhaps sandwiches that are then made, plated. They've got Tom or Marjorie's name on. You know, for the evening, they're put in the fridge, and another member of staff will then serve them. So,
which is a good
where
point.
are we with that?
That's a good point as well, because good reference there to two different personnel members managing a food service. So communication is important there. So technically, this food is served. So it could be a platter of sandwiches, fruit slices, maybe some pastry or cake there. Part of the mise en place is to have that cling film that's maybe kept in the fridge or kept in a suitable condition. Now, if that food is then taken to the customer, de-cling filmed and presented as it would be, you wouldn't give it the customer with the cling film. So that's nothing to do with PPS. So that would not require a label in that respect. The essential thing there is that should these clients be on the checklist for hypersensitivities, then the caterer would have already accommodated that. And as you said earlier, if that cling film's got the name of the client on there, so because it's been made for that person, it's bespoke to that.
Exactly. I mean, I've worked in various care settings, and we've always had the board of residents, up on the board, their dietary requirements, any allergies and stuff like that, and that's been in various settings that I've worked in and visited, so we know those controls are in place, and like you say, dietary sheets, admission sheets, etc. They're all in place, and staff are trained. And I suppose the main thing for us is communication, and that's not just in the care sector, that's just in every sector. Communication is key, because if people are not confident in what they're talking about when asked, then it automatically puts your customers, your diners, whatever off, and they're then on the back foot, aren't they? So it does make a big difference. So
Excellent.
I've got my food. I've got my chicken shop or whatever, and it's under a hot lamp. So where are we? Are we fully decided? Well, I know we are, to be honest. I know we are, but I'm just raising the question because we did raise it in the video, and we had a couple of questions
that
coming from the guys out there, so let's just clear it up, really.
So we've got and it's as we the fast food sort of organizations, whichever sort of product then is packaged is hot, if it's within that package before it's been ordered, it's going to have a label. There's no question about that. So I'm sure lots of catering companies will be looking at their modelling.
And that's the worry, really.
We're not avoiding doing the right thing, which is to declare allergens and ingredients. But there's opportunity, isn't it? So how do we do this, and how do we re-emphasise the fact that any customer can ask us anything about our ingredients or allergens, and having that connectivity.
And I think that's part of the worry with this legislation, that a lot of people that were making things in-house are actually going to farm them out, and they'll then become pre-packaged. And that will be a shame. And it'll obviously put the price of products up, etc., etc. It will harm a lot of businesses.
It will, because if you don't need that many,
they're taking that profitability away from them.
Gross profit is less for bought input. Nothing wrong with
listen,
but
if the situation is such that you have to buy the product in, and that's the way you operate, then there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I've no doubt that the quality of the product is just as good or better than you could produce yourself. That is not in question. What I'm trying to say is that for those operators that have been doing it themselves, and they look at this piece of legislation and they're going to go, what a faff.
I know, and that's the biggest worry. And I think between now and the 1st of October, as we said a long time ago, get your list of products that you may need to be packaging, may need to be labeling, concentrate on those, get it trialed, get a labeling system, and have we got any more questions? Because we can zip through. We've had something through on the poll. So
yeah, so we on the polls there. On question 1, are you 100% confident you know which products to label and comply? It's split 58% in positive, 42% in negative.
Yeah.
So there are still people out there that aren't 100%.
Right. Okay.
And like we said earlier, if you're not 100% and you do want to raise some more questions with us, then send them through to support@catercloud.com. Julian and I will, assess the questions and we'll come back to you
by all means
in the next couple of days.
Can I just say that we've said this, it's an evolution. This was never black and white. This particular legislation, and I think what we have experienced in recent weeks is that we're getting the situation, the muffin or the hot dog or the whatever, exploring it, speaking to industry colleagues, looking at best practice, looking at that's the right thing to do. It meets in the context of Natasha's law, which is what this is all about. And we make that industry decision. So good point.
Yeah.
So you can.
So point 2 on the poll: would you rather have a clear-cut legal position, as in this is it, this is what you have to do, 100%, or as we have now, there's the Food Amendment Act is out there, Natasha's law is out there.
Yeah.
There are legal elements of it, and there is guidance along the way. And this actually surprised me.
Right.
So it's 45 to the legal,
right,
and 55 to the legal and guidance.
Yeah.
So I'll be quite honest with you. That has shocked me. I thought more people would err on the side of no, it's clear cut. This is what we want. This is what you've got to do.
Yeah.
So no, fair play.
I think that is interesting. But I mean, let's bear in mind the Food Standards Agency, DEFRA, all these great. Our institutions in Britain are the best in the world. Yeah, and and they're all of this information is available from the FSA. They go onto their allergen for businesses, and it's there's an abundance of resources there, and it's they've spent years and years implementing European regulations. We've got our own regulations. It's for the right reason. Number one reason. UK and Ireland's is going to be the best globally for allergen compliance, and we're there on food safety and animal husbandry, welfare. So we're on that trajectory. However, government doesn't want to impose rule and law on revenue generating businesses. They're all meant to work together. So it's good to have that cooperation. So I'm not. Maybe that's not so. Surprising. It would be handy in this particular situation to have. Well, if you do this, you find. If you don't, you find. Possibly because there's so much ambiguity around it. But then that's the whole allergen management. If you think about, we still don't have to have allergen information legally in writing. So if you're an allergen accredited business, you've got to back up your oral allergen information in writing. Why? Because the point of verification. So I think we best practice this. We take this to this level, industry best practice, and organisations that want to spend more on that and invest more on that, could benefit from. Anyway, I'm waffling on now. What other questions do we have?
So, excuse me a moment. If a product is pre-packaged to go into a vending machine and the size of the compartment restricts the label on view, so all of the info is not available to read, would that be okay?
Whoa, brilliant question.
What a belter.
I think we should award points.
Yes.
That's a belter question.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Mr. Collins, that is a cracker.
Yeah, that is a cracker. So vending then, that's all pre-packed for direct sale because it's, and you're deliberately taking the whole oral communication of the process. It's becoming its own chilled display center. So those products will all to be fully labeled, fine. So having
restricted view on the label.
Yeah, I mean it's that's a really good point because once you've made that purchase, if the label is slightly obscure because it's sat in a certain way, you've made the purchase and then you're looking at the label.
You've done your legal bit. You've put the label on.
Yeah. So the customer's going to look at the label and go, darn it, can't eat that.
It's got tomatoes.
But they pay for it now. There's no way you can put it back in the machine. So, there's two ways to counter that. Don't redesign your venue. They're very expensive bits of kit. If they can be positioned in such a way, great. how do you incorporate the facade of the vending machine? There's no room to have your menus printed on them. If there's a digital component to your super vending machine,
maybe
you could pull it up on a digital display.
Yeah, maybe.
Or
you could add a QR code.
Ah.
So if you had a QR code displayed,
yeah,
and it perhaps listed all the products.
Yeah, so that, but that's not taking up too much the display space of the vending machine.
No,
but a series of
it could be literally where
20
where the payment
QR
goes in, or whatever. There could be a little statement. Scan here for ingredient and allergen information,
and that'll pull up on each product what's in that machine.
Yes.
So don't go and spend £20,000.
No, get a bigger machine.
Use a QR code, use of communication. But in the meantime,
and if all else fails, perhaps a small Bible, of what's in the machine, handy, in the locality, would help.
Yeah, I think that's definite for QRs, QR coding. Yeah, but that's a good question.
The QR codes, it's a great feature that we've got in CaterCloud.
Yeah, you could have one
attached to menus.
Yeah, it's so easy to do this now. Maybe as part of the vending insignia, so you've got a QR code here and just one common statement. So you've got recipe, ingredients, contents for all our products. Scan here. Now that's real simple text. We've got 20, 30 different products in your vending machine. There is an opportunity. So you scan into it. Then you got the typical, and if it's cloud-based, and I've learned this, thanks Rob, it's cloud-based, that's all up to date. Yes. So that's a very clever way to do it. So there we are. And speak to him about cloud.
Give us an email or a ring, and we'll see what
who's going to beat the vending question, Rob? Who's going to top that one?
Well, I don't know. Let's have a look at the next one. With the grab bags, if we as a takeaway restaurant business are packaging these for a food waste collection, such as Too Good To Go, great application by the way, what would be the labelling rules here? So in the bag are a number of items that the consumer doesn't get a choice on.
Ooh. Yeah, again, a really, really great question. And it's, big congratulations and, heartfelt thanks to all.
Yeah, definitely. For all of you out there that signed up to other applications on food waste, not just Too Good To Go. There are many others out there that are doing great work, and help feed those people that are less fortunate than ourselves.
Yeah, if we take back, if we go right back to the basics of food allergen legislation prior to PPDS, then it's if food is sold or supplied to a customer, then it must have allergen information. So that says at the very beginning whether that's for charitable donation, or freebie at an event or something, or if it's been paid for, allergen information must be supplied. Spring forward to now, if foods are packaged for direct sale, and the word is there in the sale, it's not so much selling, cash transaction, it's the giving of.
Yes.
There still needs to be that.
It still needs to be labelled.
Yes.
So it would still attract PPDS.
Yes. Yeah. Right. I'm going to do a plug here. But however, if your business is based on accepting donation, which is from the brilliant companies and partners you have out there, and B, you're keeping a very tidy ship and then distributing foods to people in need, then you can be rest assured that you can get, you're going to shoot me for this, that you can get Rob's time for free. I've said it now, it's live. There we go. Full support on that, and take that offer up, because this package is free, but to get some help there would be, that's something that carrying on CaterCloud's support in the last 18 months has been outstanding.
Yeah, a big up to the CaterCloud's support team, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it's right up our street there. So give us a ring, and we will get you sorted there and see if we can do a deal on whatever stuff you do, but we can fix that.
Just have a quick one here. There's another one about care homes. So residents may go out and take food with them, i.e. Whether it's independently or supported with staff. So we are now taking this tinfoil picnic style sandwich out of the home. Should we be fully labelling it, or is it good enough that we prepare this for a specific resident and it has their name on it and are aware of their as an individual.
You've answered your question perfectly well. Yes, spot on. You've prepared that for that particular individual. They've got a name on it. It's been cared for. It's been packaged, been held before given to. That's not PPDS whatsoever.
Just clear up a couple of things that just keep popping up in the Q&A about this vending thing. Yeah. People say no, but it's retail. It's some parts of the product may be pre-packaged.
Yeah.
And coming from manufacturers, and you haven't done anything to them. They will attract obviously different labelling legislations, but the question was if they have made something and put a label on it and it was obscured, hence why we've given the answers that we did. And I fully appreciate that not everybody's got the chance to use a QR code, but to be fair, you know, the percentage of people that have a smartphone these days is you know, greatly increased compared to 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think it'd be a real canny thing to do a QR code on a machine so the customer, before they purchase, could go into one QR code and then choose then. You could even paint this up so it looks like the actual...
Like a menu.
Yeah, or if you took a picture of a vending machine, it's quite easy to and then tap on each. I mean, I've done something similar and with my Lacatech, so it can be done. But this question's only just cropped up now. I mean, otherwise it's pot luck. If you buy that sandwich, I mean, there's enough. You should be able to see enough. It's a cheese and ham sandwich. When you see through, it's all glass based. You should be able to see through it, and then obviously it's pot luck. Then if you check the label, it's not there. So I think the use of tech there, is the best solution.
Yeah, definitely. Let's just have a quick look here, see if there's any more.
You've covered quite a bit.
Is written allergen info in restaurants a predictable next step?
Wow, that's a really brilliant question. And there will be a campaign we'll see coming out, probably referencing Owen's Law, which bless them all. Certainly when we as in our scope of work, we are trying to promote caterers to use their menus to describe things better. So whenever we see, something that's a bit of chicken marinated in buttermilk, turn that into your menu. Hey, grilled chicken marinated in buttermilk, emphasising the allergen. There's been too much. There has been several failings here, whereby. Essentially, it's very similar to PPDS, where if you can see on the menu, you want as much information as possible on the menu, because again, it's lack of engagement, or not so much lack of engagement, it's lack of when you do present to a restaurateur and say, I am allergic to this, and then on very rare occasions, that information doesn't go through the kitchen and back out to the customer, and there has been some. Now, because of that, there is a campaign to promote menus to have all the allergen information on there. At the moment, don't need to do that. However, our friends in Ireland, when the legislation came out 2014, it was mandated that when you do a menu, you do have your allergens listed under each dish. So Ireland are kind of ahead of the game there. So and so there's nothing set yet for that to happen.
No, I think there's there's another important aspect of it, and it isn't just about the allergens. Obviously, PPDS, as we mentioned in the video, and everybody knows about, is full ingredient declaration. And like you say, the campaign and reference to young Owen, it's if you can add a description to a product on your menu, then add it, because some people really, they may be slightly intolerant, they may be, highly intolerant, they may be highly allergic, to a product outside of the 14, and they still don't feel confident in asking, and they're trying to second guess what's in your dish. So if you can add in a description, short and sharp, adding in a bit of information, it helps people, and it does provoke conversation. And I mentioned it earlier, training is vital for everybody in your establishment. Allergy awareness and engagement training, giving young staff especially,
yeah,
you know, the confidence to
go
to
the power
old dodgers like us,
yeah,
and say, you
yeah,
know, do you have any allergies, or
yeah,
you know, that
yeah,
we need
exactly.
to be aware of, or when we ask about a dish and say, this pork Slovakia, what's in it? You know,
yeah,
if they can't answer it straight away and say, listen, you know, I'll go and ask the chef just to make sure for you. It's imperative.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think if there is a trend whereby information is not being flowed correctly, and therefore, you know, it could be the case that, yeah, all right, we've got PPDS labeling now. Now you've got to, because there is that chink in the armor. So, I
mean, industry best standard is have written allergen information, even in restaurants,
on request, yeah,
in cafes, wherever. Have it so that people can just refer to it.
Yeah, and the fact is
it such a big step to say have the ingredient detail there as well? It
is. But the way I would do it would be because it's printing menus out. Because we chefs, we change a menu. We can't just write a menu and then have you know, ingredient change, substitution, the print cost, all this stuff. So if you've got, I know we've done this a lot.
Yeah,
so you've got QR code. Here we go, going on again. Yeah. So you've got one recipe and menu planner, which you run a QR code. So when you're changing this on the computer and you're bumping up and down to the cloud, it's live. It's 100%.
It's live
to the second. So there is that opportunity to have that. So you're not then reprinting a menu all the time.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, bearing in mind Natasha's law. It's consultation, took a few years to get that. So if there were to be another change to UK legislation, that will take some time. But as you say, it's about communicating on menus that would help them. And where you've got ingredients that us chefs know what's in there, but an unusual agreement, not an unusual ingredient that the customer wouldn't essentially think is in there, I'd have that in my menu description. You know, walnut infused sesame oil, rustic bread. Yeah, I would use buttermilk.
Give as much information
buttermilk
as you can.
Marinated chicken breast. And then you've nipped that in the bit. If you've got that allergen described in the recipe, you're 100% allergen because it's the front and center. So okay.
Another good one, and it's one I've obviously been banging on about all day today and in the video. Should allergy training or even food safety certified training be mandated?
Really good question. And the journey of food safety has been up and down like this, where it depends where you are in the country. And I've always said every chef should have, level 2 food safety. Every catering manager, head of a kitchen should have level 3. It's part of my audits when I go around. And if it's not there, then you get some caterers say, we do this online, we refresh it every few years. And I think, well, that's a fail from me. But they've not been compelled to do that.
Yeah.
Now we bounce on to allergen regulation. Now, fortunately today, there are lots of organizations who put level 2, level 3 food allergen training on their 3 yearly refreshers. So this, oddly enough, in this lockdown, myself and Jackie, my colleague, we've been busiest on training. So people have actually, they've done a lot of training whilst they've been closed.
And the old adage is, isn't it? We're too busy to train.
Exactly. So the only upside, there's not many people have invested in training this.
So personally, my too busy to train means well, you might not be too busy to go to court.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I mean, so I would say it should be mandatory, but it's not a compulsory thing. Now it is if you go through the allergen accreditation scheme, you have to demonstrate what training you've done, have all staff been trained, and does it cover all the key components? It's the opening section to even think about becoming allergen accredited, because it's pointless if the people you're liaising with don't know what they're doing. So it's not mandated today, but watch this space. I think there's a tsunami pushing this, and I've always believed that if you want to, anybody can register to open a food premises. You don't need any qualifications to do that, but I think to get your 5 stars on the door, you've got to be trained to get there, and to protect your business from prosecution and to protect yourselves from harming anybody. You need to have allergen training. You know, and
yeah, definitely.
You can make that decision today.
It should.
Don't wait for the government.
It should
to tell
sit.
you,
If you're employing someone and say they have to have food safety training, then why shouldn't they have to have allergen training?
Yeah.
You know, it's a food environment.
Yeah.
You have to be aware of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
excellent.
One, not so much a question.
Yeah.
But it's just mentioning cross-contamination within the kitchen.
Right.
And it's perhaps stated
Yeah.
on the bottom of a menu.
Yeah.
All dishes made in a kitchen handling all allergens.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's well, that's a fail, isn't it?
Yeah.
If
Well,
kitchen manager doesn't know what on earth is going on in their kitchen, you can use make contain on once you've done that assessment. And
yes, it's all about the risk
when,
assessment.
Yeah, and I've said this before. If you've got the very small, you know, you've got one workbench and you're doing everything on one bench. You are operating the salad with bread, cheese, tuna. You risk assess that yourself, and you've got to be able to sort of say on those occasions, yeah, I've got wheat in my salad, I've got this and that. So I'll make it very clear on my live risk assessment. There's no way to avoid that cross contamination, that particular function, and then bounce over to a super deep fry in a chippy. You've got sulfites, meat, you've got fish, you've got your wheat, you've got all these crustaceans all happening in one fryer. Therefore, you can happily say our chips do contain fish, wheat, etc., 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 because you risk assess that, and it's a practical thing. But a broad statement is always a fail because doesn't mean the same applies. That if you're saying that, you might as well say that our food may have salmonella, Clostridium perfringens, and the
now you're being ridiculous.
No, I'm not. Well, you know, if you think it's
no,
point.
It is. You know, we all as caterers, we all work along HACCP principles. So why are we not incorporating allergen management into those HACCP principles?
Precisely.
And saying, right, well, let's take it. Not to say that people aren't taking it seriously. So please do not take that away from what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
Let's take it really serious.
Yeah.
Let's say, right, these are the process steps that we undertake.
Yeah.
These are the allergens that are involved in those process steps.
Yeah.
What can we do to minimize or eliminate cross-contamination of allergens, etc., and do a thorough risk assessment. And then you won't have to put that statement at the bottom if you think.
Exactly.
And you will get more people through the door.
Yeah. Well, if I see that on a generic statement and you go up to the counter and say, coffee, no milk, please, and does that contain lupins? They look at you daft and say, what do you mean? We've got a statement there saying our kitchen contains everything. Yeah. 14 allergens are everywhere. And so if you could at least perhaps, you know, don't get me started.
Yeah. Well, perhaps that could well be
Yeah.
Our next webinar.
Oh, a specialist may contain.
A specialist
I think we
may
go,
contain.
go to a factory, go to a kitchen. I've some. We know some great people in manufacturing.
Yeah, we do.
Some of them just don't have any may contain statements because they.
And we'll get some of the fact behind the mythology.
Yeah, fact behind the mythology, and then we will. Yeah. You know, as you know, there is no may contain in allergen accreditation world. It's either in or it isn't. And if you've got suppliers that are full of may contain stuff, you have to speak to every one of them. It's a kerfuffle.
Yeah.
But we need to know whether they are saying yes, it's come into contact in the factory, which is then that to me is a touch. It's contained. It's a tiny bit. It's contained. Or if they say, "Oh, we just say that for your peace of mind," our peace of mind. We don't really know what's in our factory. Yeah. And therein lies the
biggest problem.
Big issue with this.
Yeah. Fact that, well, I think that's definitely. A project to get going on.
Next.
We'll do that one.
Excellent.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today and staying on and listening to us rabbit away.
Yeah,
it's been really enjoyable. I hope you've gained something from this morning, and have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all the best. Bye-bye.
Bye now.